All right. Well, hello. I don't know who is listening to this, but I am, one of my favorite YouTubers does a lot of really cool YouTube videos, but one of the things he does for fun is that he'll play video games. But then while he's playing the video game, he doesn't just talk about the video game, he talks about other things. So I'm going to be playing FIFA 20 as the Seattle Sounders, and we're playing against Cincinnati FC. And but while I'm playing, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my life story. So we're going to get things going here. Coming up to the ball, getting ready. All right, here we go. So I was born in the year 1981 in Chicago, Illinois. And even though I was born in Chicago, I grew up in Seattle. So my parents are both from the Seattle area. My dad grew up in Tacoma. My mom grew up in Kent, which is south of Seattle. And the reason why they were in... Oh, yes! With the sliding off the deflection. Oh, insane. Look at that. In the 5th minute. He just fell down. He's so excited he doesn't even know what's going on. So that was a really beautiful goal, by the way, just so you know. I mean, came across, crossed it, thought the goalie was going to get it, and then just like slid into it. So both of my parents are from the Seattle area, but they were in Chicago because my mom is a doctor, and she was going to school. She was finishing up her doctor school in Chicago at the University of Chicago Hospital, and that's also where I was born. And so they were living in Chicago while my mom was finishing school. Whew, nice save. Oh, no, bad, don't do that. And so, oh, that's better. And so my mom was finishing her doctor school. My dad was doing some college. He was actually teaching some college there as well. And then when I was about 2.5, my sister was born, also in the Chicago area. And we lived there until I was about 3. And then we moved back to the Seattle area. We lived with my grandparents for a little while while my parents bought a house in North Seattle. Yeah, get it out of here. And that house is the same house that we lived in while I was growing up, while I went to elementary school, middle school, high school, and my dad and my stepmom still live there today. So that's the house that we usually go and stay at when we go and visit Seattle. So all right, so I'm 4 or 5 years old in Seattle. I went to elementary school at Loyal Heights Elementary, which was really close to my house. I could walk from there. And I don't remember a lot from elementary school because it was, in the 80s and early 90s. But I remember a couple of my teachers. I know that my 2nd grade teacher was Miss Holmes, and she was like sometimes really nice and sometimes like you were just really scared of her. And I don't know if that's good that that's like my memory of her, but anyway, I think for the most part she was pretty nice. And I don't remember my 3rd grade teacher. 4th grade, let's see. Oh, in 3rd grade I was in what they called a 3rd and 4th grade split. Ooh, too far. And so half the class was in 3rd grade and half the class was in 4th grade, and our teacher had to kind of like teach us both at the same time. So she would kind of like go teach a lesson to the 3rd graders and then get us going on something, and then she'd go teach the 4th graders. And I think it was just because there like wasn't quite enough for a whole class of either, so they had to kind of make it work. I'll skip ahead to 5th grade because I remember my 5th grade teacher, Miss Sasumi, and she was a Japanese lady, and I remember her. She was definitely pretty strict, but like fair, and But like we knew she really cared about us, and I really remember a lot of things from her class. I don't know. I just think we learned a lot of cool things in fifth grade. And oh, put him in, yeah, into the corner. Let's see what kind of celebration he's gonna do. Oh, he fell over too. He's just so amazed that he made that goal. These are some pretty spectacular goals that are happening. Just so you know, if you haven't played this game very much, it's crossing, and then it's deflected, and then like he's got barely any room and gets it straight across. Oh, that's pretty good. So in fifth grade, we got to do a lot of cool stuff. Back then, school was a little bit different. I remember we had to like memorize all 50 of the states and the state capitals, and we had like these big maps that we had like colored all the states and written in all the capitals and stuff, and that took us a while. And we had to do a report on a state, and I remember I did mine on Colorado because the summer before fifth grade, our family had gone on a trip to Colorado. So sort of like, it's not like I knew a lot about it because I went there, but it was, someplace I had just been. And so I decided to do that. So we did a state report. We did art every Friday. And I remember she did a lot of really cool things with art. We did some, wasn't just like coloring time. Oh, it was, yeah, it was fun. So fifth grade, Loyal Heights. Then in sixth grade, I moved to Whitman Middle School, which is also in North Seattle. And I remember more about middle school, but still, it's been a while. But it was pretty much like the way you guys do middle school. One of the big differences, though, was that we had homeroom every day instead of having it just once a week, like in Cavs. So our first, 20 minutes maybe of the day was in homeroom, and that's where they would do announcements over the loudspeaker, and we weren't supposed to, but we'd finish up homework if you hadn't done it the night before. Not that I just admitted that. And all right, so it's halftime, so we're gonna switch sides, get a little water, get a little rest, and then keep going. Okay, I remember the first day of sixth grade really specifically because my homeroom was in a portable, and so they were kind of out behind the school. So I went out there, and when I got there, there was 2 or 3 other students just standing outside, and the doors were closed. So I assumed that the doors were locked, right? If the doors were open, why wouldn't these other kids go in? And a few more people showed up, and I recognized someone from elementary school, and we were just hanging out, and then all of a sudden, the next kid that showed up decided to try the door. Oh, nice save, goalie. And the door was open, and a teacher was in there, and there's some students in there, and all of us that were just kind of sitting there, not trying the door, just kind of felt stupid. And so I specifically remember the first day of sixth grade because of that. I don't remember anything else that happened, but I do remember feeling kind of embarrassed about that. So I don't know if you guys, if you're a sixth grader and listening to this, something that sort of happens when you get to sixth grade is you have friends that you had in fifth grade and that you had in elementary school, but all of a sudden now there's all these new kids that they're your same age and they're like you and stuff. Oh, that was a bad pass. And but you sort of start making some new friends. You're not necessarily just friends with everybody you were friends with in elementary school. So I remember meeting a lot of new friends in sixth grade. I still had a couple people that I would hang out that I knew from elementary school, but I hung out with a lot of new people. And sixth grade is where I really felt like I started making a lot of really close friendships. And because I went to the same with a lot of this. Ooh, nice save. Because I stayed in the same house, I didn't move around a lot. I went to elementary school, middle school, and high school with a lot of the same people. And so friendships that I made in middle school got to carry on to high school and stuff. And so not all of them, but I remember specifically there's a few. Oh, that's right. Past the keeper. The 60th minute, the Sounders are running away with it. So there's a few friends that I made in sixth grade that stayed friends all the way through high school. And then, some people that went to a different high school or something, and we didn't stay in touch. But those are some of the first real friendships that I remember. And I guess one of the things, as a bit of wisdom that I'll impart to you guys is, at my age now, which I told you what year I was born, so you can do the math on how old I am. But for someone my age, I I'm in contact with very few people that I went to high school with. Like people that I talked to, like with Facebook and social media, like I'm friends with some people on Facebook, but like people that I actually talk to, um, there's really only like a couple. And so I know that when you're in middle school, it feels like this is your whole life and your whole world, and these friendships and these relationships are all like life or death and these really big deal. But at the end of the day, like we go through life and we journey with some people for a while, and then as close as we think we are to those people, we move on and we make new friends. And so just your relationships are important, but don't make them more important than they need to be. Okay, so let's see, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade. I know I had some really cool teachers. This is the first time we got to do like science and some different things. Let me tell you about being in band. So I had done band in elementary school. So I played the clarinet when I was in elementary school. But I had decided when I was signing up for my sixth grade classes that I didn't really want to do music anymore. And but somehow I got signed up to take band in sixth grade. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to go to the band room on the first day of school because that's what my schedule says. But I'll have to talk to someone, about getting it changed because I wasn't planning on being in band. So I walk into the band room and I talk to the band director, Mr. Baldwin, and I told him, hey, there was a mistake. I wasn't supposed to be signed up for band, so I'm going to be, transferring to a different class. And he just looked at me and he kind of got this weird look on his face, and he's like, do you play an instrument? And I was like, yeah, I played the clarinet and stuff. And he's like, okay, you're staying in band. I was like, what? He's like, no, if you can play an instrument, you're going to stay in band. And so, like, I didn't know what to do, so I just stayed in band. And I'm really glad that I did because I ended up playing music all the way through high school, and I was in the jazz band, and those are some of my really like favorite memories from school. And so I'm really glad that Mr. Baldwin didn't let me quit band. Although when I think about it, it's sort of like, who was he to tell me that I could, that I had to do it? But oh well, it worked out for the best. So let's see. Oh, the other thing that was really big for me in middle school that unfortunately we don't have at our school is that I was able to be in drama. I mean, I know we have Miss Joyner does a drama class that some of you guys might be in, but our drama class every semester put on like an actual play, like in the auditorium. We had like this like big auditorium like they have at the high schools, and we put on these really cool like full length plays with like lighting and costumes and sets, and they were really a big deal for like middle schoolers to be able to do this. So let's see, we're making a couple substitutions here, killing some time in the last few minutes. So I got to be both an actor in drama, and then one year I was on the stage crew, they called it. So I helped like do all the lighting and stuff, and yeah, that was really a lot of fun because it was one of our classes. I mean, it was sixth period, but it was also like there was a lot of extra time like on weekends, and then like on the weekend that we did the play, it was like, we do it Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. And it was a big deal, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, but yeah, those are probably some of my better memories of middle school too. And those plays are somewhere on a VHS tape, and oh man, I wonder where that is. I wonder if I could find it. Okay, well, we're into extra time here. We're up 3-0, so it looks like we're going to run away for the win. So that is the story of Mr. Oldenkamp, I guess, from, let's see, through middle school, through 8th grade. I guess that's mostly about school. I could talk more about my family and stuff, but we won 3-0, and maybe in the next video I'll talk a little bit more about my family, and then we'll move on to high school and go from there. I guess I've lived a long time, so we'll see how many games it takes me to get through the story of Mr. Oldenkamp. All right, guys. Yeah, we'll see you later. If you want to leave any comments, I can answer any questions you might have. Other than that, we'll see you next time.